Sounds good.
Eastern Illinois head coach Chris Wilkerson, you coming off their open date. They're going to host Northwestern State. That's one of the games part of the OVC Southland non-scheduling alliance. Teams haven't played since 1993, I believe. So, Coach, just some thoughts on your team coming out of that open date, and we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Kyle. The bye week couldn't have come at a better time for us. Again, we had some guys that were bumped and bruised, and certainly we had a lot of fundamental work that we did on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Had some guys get a chance to heal up just a little bit, but really focused on fundamentals and, back to work. And then for the coaches, we spent a lot of time. Friday, we were on the road recruiting, and Saturday recruiting. Sunday, we got the video from Northwestern State because they did play Saturday. A lot of self-scout done this last week and some advanced scout, but super excited to get back at it this weekend. Certainly 3 out of the next 4 at home, back-to-back home games, and start the second half of the season, here at home. So real excited and a great opportunity this weekend.
You said health. What's it like then when you have a whole week to get healthy? You're never 100% healthy, right? You have the nicks and bruises, but you feel good about where the team is then as best you can be right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As best as you can. This time of the year when you're more than halfway through, you're going to have some bumps and bruises. But I'll tell you what, yesterday's practice was as spirited as I've seen in a while. And we joked as a staff, it looked like, the start of preseason, fresh legs, and guys were running around a little more bounce in their step. And some of the guys that had been hobbled that had a chance to get the entire week off, or the entire team really didn't have to do anything physically Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So it was nice for them to have 3 consecutive days. Mentally, they were a little more sharp than what I had expected after being away from football for 3 days, but it was a good practice and a good start to the week. So really excited.
So this is your first year, obviously, EIU. So this question's about the schedule. This year there's some non-conference games now in the middle. There's some at the end, just because of the way things worked out. Are there pros and cons to playing a non-conference schedule or game at this point of the year?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, certainly, our whole thing we've said from the beginning is about trying to improve our standing in the Ohio Valley Conference. We've only had one opportunity and we were successful at that. This is another non-conference game, but here at Eastern, we haven't won back-to-back football games since 2017 and haven't won a home football game in the fall, I believe, since 2018. So it's a great opportunity for us to go out and improve ourselves and just continue to focus on the process and try to improve our football team. So.
And Northwestern State, they've won 2 in a row. So they've played some tough teams too early in the year. What are your thoughts a little bit more specific on that?
Super talented group of guys. And yes, they started off 0-3, made a change at quarterback, and everything they do runs through Clement. Their offense has been unbelievable, to be honest with you. He leads their team, their quarterback, in rushing and passing. They're a true air raid. True air raid team. They'll take what they give you now. So if you want to play 5 in the box and they've got 5 guys, they'll still run it. If you want to play 6 in the box and they got 7 guys, they'll run it. But they had one game, they opened it up with 39 straight passes. This last week, they were down 33-21 to one of their rivals in Nichols at home with 3:17 to go, went right down the field, punched it in, got the onside kick, went right down the field again and scored with 9 seconds left. They've come from behind 2 weeks in a row, kind of the cardiac kids. But like I said, Clement has really done a phenomenal job with their offense. Their wide receiver core is long and athletic. All the kids get open, but Javon Antonio is a guy that has been special these last few weeks. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. They targeted him 17 times in the game this last weekend against Nichols. And so he had 10 catches for 150 and 2 touchdowns and the 2-point conversion. But he's a special guy. He's a real dynamic guy. Their offensive line is big and physical. The tight end's also a long guy, 6'6", 225 pounds. And their backs are complete players. They're guys that can catch the football in space, block the blitz if needed, and certainly can run the football if and when they choose to do so. So we're going to have our hands full. Coach Gristick and his staff, I know, are working really hard to give our kids a chance, and we're excited about the opportunity this Saturday.
I don't know if we talked about him a couple weeks ago. Stone Galloway has played well for you. I know he's on a kicker watch list for just his performance so far this year, but that consistency, can you talk a little bit more about him?
Yeah, Stone has been amazing since I got here in January, and Coach Derrickson, our special teams coordinator, and he have worked very well together. He's an interesting young man and is a pleasure to be around on a daily basis. He's probably one of the more well-liked guys in our program. He actually lives with our offensive linemen in what we call the hog house. So he really has just, he has continued to work really hard on sharpening his skills. He's gotten off to a great start. And I'm looking forward to watching him just continue to focus on what he does and improve as we go down the stretch here. So, but really excited to have him with us.
That's a little uncharacteristic of kickers, right? They're sort of usually off on their own and they're not kind of that way. Am I right?
Some are. And like I said, Stone would probably be the exception rather than the rule.
Just looking through some things on social media. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo played last night. What's it like when EIU has somebody like that, Grugier Hill, who's been playing really well? Just that attention that kind of comes back to EIU.
It's big. And, I know Jimmy had a rough offseason, being banged up and all the other stuff that he had to go through, but things work out, and you just got to have trust in the process. And he's had an opportunity and certainly has made the most of it. And it's certainly great for us to have that visibility on a national stage, especially even Monday Night Football, even more so than just on Sundays. But he's an amazing person and obviously an accomplished player and certainly one of the all-time legends here. But like you said, Camus is another guy that, was a runner and hitter and has really developed, from a special teams player into potentially, an all pro caliber linebacker and just continues to improve. So, having those guys certainly is great for not only the OVC, but for Eastern Illinois University and our football family.
Last question, we'll let you go. We asked you this a media day and we're starting to work on some stuff from that about Coach Spoo. So you sort of answered this, but now you're 6 games into the year. What's one thing you learned from Coach Spoo that you now try to use with your players, every year that you've been a head coach?
Yeah, I think still when it's all said and done, Coach was a people person. And the way that he was able to impact, enrich, and transform lives on a daily basis. And it wasn't always something that you wanted to hear. It may be holding you accountable and a guy that was very, very firm in his convictions about how to do things and how to treat people. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned from Coach and that I try like heck to do every single day is to treat people the way that, you want to be treated and to treat people like they were my son because they are someone else's children. And so, our job is to impact, enrich, and transform lives. That's why we're doing this. It's not a profession for us. It's a calling. And I was just really blessed to be able to play for the man and work alongside him for 7 years and continue to have him as a mentor until the day that he passed away. So he's been so impactful and certainly is a guy that I think about very often. Every day I walk into this office and every day that we go out onto the practice field and every day that we take the field for game day, it's been very surreal and certainly has brought back fond memories.
That's perfect. That's what we're looking for, Coach. That's perfect. So, well, thanks for taking time to join us. Best of luck on Saturday in your game, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks again, Kyle. Go Panthers.